Now, I've got a breaking news update for you, which is that we've had a confirmation from the Ministry of Defence in the last hour now that a Royal Air Force Typhoon fighter jet operating out of Qatar shot down an Iranian drone flying towards Qatari territory today. An MOD spokesperson said that the Typhoon operating from Qatar as part of the UK Qatar Typhoon Squadron successfully took out an Iranian drone heading towards Qatari territory. The jet, they continued, was conducting a defensive air patrol and used an air-to-air missile to shoot down the drone, ensuring the security of Qatar's airspace and Britain's interests in the region. Now, this is a significant moment, Nana, because these jets were moved forward for this purpose specifically in the last month, flying via Cyprus, our Royal Air Force base at Qatari. Moving forward, this is Al Udeid base in Qatar. It's a joint UK-US Qatari base where a lot of operations in the Middle East are launched from. Now, those will be, along with the joint facility in Bahrain, the most forward deployed British personnel in the region right now, those most at risk, frankly. We've seen some strikes targeting that facility in Bahrain yesterday. Luckily, no British injuries or casualties in that attack. But this update now showing that those men and women forward deployed in Qatar are operating today and have shot down a drone that was fired towards Qatar. Royal Air Force Typhoon jets being involved in that successful interception.
All right, Charlie Peters, thank you very much for that update. Good evening, welcome back to GB News. Breaking news, Sir Keir Starmer is under growing pressure to endorse the US and Israeli strikes on Iran, with British ministers refusing to say whether the joint attack was legal as the conflict continues into its second day. John Healey, UK Defence Secretary, repeatedly refused to support the strikes when speaking with GB News' Camilla Tominey this morning. Well, I'm joined now by the former government advisor on political violence, Lord Walney. John, thank you very much for joining me. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what on earth, where is Keir Starmer, for starters? I mean, I wanted to ask the Labour MP that. Sadly, I didn't have time. And why are we not confirming our support for the US and Israel?
I think the government should wholeheartedly show its approval for this action. I think the prevarication from Sir Keir Starmer and his ministers on one level is understandable. Of course, it is true that you need to have some level of confidence that what you are doing is in compliance with international law. But I think those grounds do evidently exist to make the case that you can back this. And beyond that, this goes to a really simple question of whose side are we on? And we are on the side of the Iranian people who have been brutalized by this dictator for many decades, and we're on the side of the British people who have been threatened with Iranian terrorism that has been very deliberately exported by this region for many, many years. It is a good thing that the Ayatollah is dead. It is a good thing that the former president is dead. It is a very dangerous time for the country and the region. Make no mistake about that. But we have to actually, you have to show that we are going to be part of this and are going to play a role in trying to make this country better because of the manifest benefits that will have for the rest of the region and the world.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Whose interests are we acting on? Because if we don't support the Iranian people, because that's who we're really supporting, then the only way to do this would appear to be to take out those leaders who have been causing such a problem. And I'm just at a loss to understand why Keir Starmer just can't come out and say something or just show some sort of decisiveness about this. And I haven't really heard much from the Tories either, Kemi Badenoch or anyone else, actually, really, to be honest. Do you think that, how do you feel our leaders are being viewed by the rest of the world?
Well, I think on this occasion, actually, to the credit, there have been opposition leaders who have been clearer. And I understand the need for the Prime Minister to show compliance with international law, but he can do that. And yet I think there is a risk that we just end up in the UK looking like hand-wringing bystanders at a time of immense geopolitical significance. It is clearly in Britain's interests that Iran is not run by an Islamist terror exporting Ayatollah. Now, the fact that the US Israel strikes have been successful in eliminating him does not mean the beginning of stability in the region. There's much more to do there, and also in the UK in being able to close down the extremist networks that Iran has been able to infiltrate into British civil life. There is more to do in being able to shut down the shadow oil economy that has enabled Iran to fuel its extremist terrorist operations. But we need to be part of this. We need to be showing leadership, not tying ourselves up in knots and frankly leaving people wondering what it is that we stand for.
It is a bit confusing. I'm confused. I think we're all confused, really. I know what I stand for. I stand with the Iranian people and the Israelis, and they are able, to be honest. I don't know why Sir Keir Starmer doesn't just come out and say something that would encourage and actually get off the fence is really where I'm at with this. Thank you very much, Lord Wolney. Really good to talk to you. Appreciate your contribution. 32 minutes after 6 o'clock. Joining me now, former Conservative MP and former soldier James Sunderland. James, looking at the way that Donald Trump has conducted this, and you're a former soldier, what are your comments on what's going on and how this has been operated and handled by Israel and the US?
Well, of course, as a former military officer and a former politician, I have that privilege of being able to see things both from the military lens and also the policy lens. I think militarily it's quite clear that the US and Israel massively overmatch Iran. So whatever Iran now throws at Israel, the US, other Arab nations will be easily suppressed, in my view, both in terms of offensive weapon systems and also, of course, in defensive weapon systems. We've got Patriot and Avenger, Iron Dome in Israel, Phalanx systems. So I think ultimately, if there was a conventional war between Israel, the US, and then Iran, it'd be pretty clear cut to me who would win, and very quickly. But politically, much more interesting. Quite clearly, we are struggling at the moment with regards to war aims. What are Trump's war aims? What does he see to get out of it? In my view, it's regime change. That's what he's going for. He's going for the person. He's not going necessarily for government or for air defense sites or for nuclear sites. He's going for the people running this pariah regime. And I suspect that his strategic aim is regime change.
But he is claiming that he wants the Iranian people to do it themselves. How realistic is that?
It's a very fair question, one that's very hard to answer. I mean, you've got a brutal regime that's been suppressing its people for a very long time. I suspect just rising up and taking arms and bringing the government down is not quite as easy as one might think. But again, I just want to comment on the British Prime Minister. I mean, I'm frankly embarrassed. I mean, you've got this pariah regime, a regime that was behind the Hamas attacks on Israel, 7th of October. Countries like Israel have an absolute right to self-defense under Article 51 of the UN Charter. But in addition, you've got the Houthi proxies, you've got the Hezbollah, you've got destabilization, you've got terrorist activity across the Middle East. And let's not forget, and this is the crux for me, it was a Labour government that put British boots on the ground in both Afghanistan and Iraq. And I'm afraid I lost lots of my former colleagues to Iranian technology, IEDs, and other Iranian proxy militia activity. People that should be here today with their families were killed by Iran. So how Keir Starmer can sit on the fence, I have absolutely no idea.